Here we have the 1998 Toyota Corona Exsior EX Saloon. Today I'm going to show you around this car and I'm also going to give it a test drive, but before that, please don't forget to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more car reviews. Starting out here in the front, the Toyota Corona has really small grills over here. And that's just how 90s cars were. Cars nowadays, like, they just gotten bigger and bigger, like the 4 Series, BMW, yeah. Here you can see that there's a couple of battle scars. And what's interesting about these headlamps over here is here they look normal, but as you go on to the side, the corner lamps, there's a protruding piece, which is something I never see in modern cars today. Now as you move on over to the side, it has this nice line that runs all the way across. You get this black molding trim. This one is still in pretty decent shape, but there's a scratch over here, and this one seems to be delaminating from the body already. Now the rims on this car, these are actually not the stock rims. These are 205 5516s. These are from the Lexus GS200H, and it's a perfect fit for this car. It looks actually pretty nice. Moving on here to the back, you got your another 90s relic. It's a antenna. It's supposed to go up with the radio, but doesn't anymore, and you can just now pull it manually. Here at the back of Corona, there's really not much here. You got a nice factory deck lid spoiler that's not ridiculously tall or big. It's only around the 3-4 inches high probably. It also comes with the third brake light, but what's nice about this is that it has extensions for the spoiler on both sides. Down here you get the chrome Toyota logo, nothing special. But there's no way to open the trunk with the button. You still have to use a key, very 90s. So you twist it clockwise, that opens up. As you lift this one up, what you'll notice in here is that the trunk is pretty big. Especially since a 90s car, you don't have a lot of angles and curves. It's just rectangular all around. You can put more stuff. Under here is a spare tire. You don't have 60-40 rear folding seats though. So this is pretty much all you have. Once you go down here, there's also a CD changer, which is again very 90s. Even the older Mercedes had that. Even the W140 had something like this. After that, you just close this up. Next thing you'll notice down here is you got aftermarket reverse sensors. So these are actually just drilled into these bumpers. Then you got your single stainless steel exhaust pipe. You have this 2-liter inline-4 3SFE engine. This is the exact same motor used in the Toyota RAV4 of this generation, but the only difference is that, of course, this car is only 2-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. The engine bay, as you can see, it's not very tight at all. The end is relatively small. Hammer and battery. Closing that up. Oh, hood pad. Good hood pad. Still pretty decent shape. There's a bit of flaking at the back, but that's normal for a car this age. Here in the interior of the Corona, first let's check the thud of the door. Leaves a lot to be desired. Start up the car, so there's no push button or anything. Start it up, old school style. Fires right up, sounds pretty good. Now let's turn on the AC. Now first let's start with the steering wheel. The steering wheel is very odd. Now in most cars you got the airbag cover, which is integrated with the horns, but with this car, the horns are actually here on the side, so one here and one here. But the middle, no matter how much you press on it, it's not gonna sound the horn. Now we move on here to the side, to the middle. So this one has an aftermarket tuned-in head unit from Pioneer. What's weird about this is that the aircon switches, they're usually knobs, especially in the 90s, but for this one, they're push button. And it's not low, medium, high. It's off, low, low, medium, and high. Odd thing, I've never seen anything like that. Now the air vents, they're very plastic feeling. Japanese plastics weren't exactly the best back then. Digital clock, got a cubby over here. It's not removable. 12-volt outlet. Your shifter is a very 90s shifter, very 90s Toyota, so you go all the way to L. Then you have an overdrive switch. It's wrapped in what seems to be fake leather. Down here, conventional handbrake, great for handbrake turns. Another cubby over here with a cup holder attachment. This is pretty weird. And as you lift this up, you got a cubby that's actually quite big. It's not bad. Moving on here to the side, materials. they are somewhere in between soft touch and hard touch plastic. So it's as if it's hard touch plastic wrapped in a very, very thin leather of very, very thin layer of leather. Then here you have your side mirror controls. Usually they're over here, right? But here you only have an air vent. So side mirror controls here. Power windows only fully automatic for the driver's side. Door locks, at least you got power locks in this car. Dashboard, it's the same material as the side. It's halfway between hard touch and soft touch plastic. Then over here at the top, Lazada lights. Lazada LED lights all the way, including here at the middle, the dome light. And if we check out the glove box, that just doesn't feel like quality plastic, but it's forgivable because after all, this is a car from the 90s. Almost all cars in the 90s had plastics like this. So here at the back of the Corona, first let's check the door thud. It actually sounds better than the front. Now here at the back, legroom is surprisingly big. I was expecting a 90s car to have way less legroom than a modern car, but compared to a Camry, a 2013 Camry, this is actually way more for me at least, and this is set to my driving position. Do note that I'm only 5'6". Now headroom, it's pretty good. The headliner is a bit thinner than in modern cars, so that's why you got more headroom. Now what's cool about this is that in most cars, you do get the center armrest, and that's the same with this one, but look how long this is. It's not very wide. Today's cars are pretty wide, but they're only until like here, but this one goes all the way up almost to the end of the seat. It's a pretty cool thing, but of course no cup holders in it, nothing fancy. Lift that back up. Here you get an ashtray, which again was pretty much mandatory in the 90s. You got a small hump. Although this is a front wheel drive car, you do still get a small hump for the transmission tunnel, and if you sit here in the middle, that's actually a lot of room. Not bad. Even headroom is pretty decent here in the middle. The car is a bit on the narrower side though, so for longer journeys, I'm not too sure if this would be a nice place to be. So driving the 1998 Toyota Corona Exsior EX Saloon. Now this car is pretty much just the 90s version of our Camrys today, and it feels pretty much just like our Camry today. Now, of course, this being 90s, you got way thinner A-pillars, B-pillars, and all that because you don't have any of those curtain airbags. But, you know, the feel of it is exactly the same. The steering, it's very numb. It's a bit heavier than our modern Camrys. I don't know why. It uses the same hydraulic power steering, but it's really just numb. If you turn it, you don't feel where the front tires are pointing. The ride is geared towards comfortable driving. It's definitely not for spirited driving, so if I just turn like that, there's so much body roll. It's actually a bit more subdued in terms of body roll than the Camry, but it's still there. You still notice it way more. You're not supposed to drive this spiritedly, although you still have your conventional handbrake, so if you do want to make handbrake turns, you can. Doesn't mean you should, but you can. The Toyota 3 SFE engine, it's a 2-liter, and it's not like modern 2-liters that are turbocharged and naturally aspirated. And as I'm flooring it right now, there's really not much going on. It's not that powerful. I wouldn't say that it's a slouch. I mean, if you compare this to a modern Vios, this one definitely is a lot faster, and it can hustle. Just not mind-blowing fast. Wouldn't put a smile on your face either. The brakes are a bit on the questionable side too, as I did the hard braking there. Didn't want to stop. You know, 90s cars are just very, very different. And I'm pretty sure that this car is well maintained. The owner pretty much loves this car. They don't even want to sell it. Someone's offering it to them. But one more, let's floor it. I'm in power mode, mind you, and that's 50. It's not bad. Could be better. Again, for a 90s car, that's actually not bad already. This being a front-wheel drive car also, when you turn it over corners, it doesn't exactly like make you feel like it's a fun thing to do because you don't feel like you're getting pushed out of a corner, you're just getting pulled out of it. And aside from that, this car is really just a comfort-oriented car, and that translates a lot to when you're going over speed bumps, potholes. It's just incredibly soft. Add that to this car having cloth seats, and it becomes a very, very comfortable ride. No matter how soft they can get leather today, like Napa leather, still nothing beats the softness that cloth can provide. 90s cars are generally way smaller than modern cars. Now, back in the 90s, this was considered a mid-sized car, but for today's standard, it's actually more like a compact car or subcompact car. In here, the space, I can easily reach over to the side, and it's just not wide, it's not long. Cars really have gotten way bigger today. One annoying thing about this car are the side mirrors. Now, the side mirrors, they're not only short lengthwise, but they're also short vertically. So, kind of just like have to move about if you want to see anything out of them when you're going to park it. I believe it's a bit of a tedious task to do. Plus the fact that you don't have parking sensors as standard. This one has it aftermarket. And yeah, it's just not the same. It's not the same as how cars are today. Now, this car only has 28,000 original kilometers on it, and that really shows here on the inside. Almost everything still is fresh looking, maybe a couple of spots are starting to fade, but aside from that, it's just as if we're back in 1998. If you like this video, please don't forget to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more car reviews.